Christmas is less than a month away, and that can only mean one thing. Here in Edinburgh, the Christmas market is open. It's been 2 years since we had a Christmas market in Edinburgh, for obvious reasons, pandemic and all that. So today I'm going to take a look round and see what's on offer. I'm expecting to see the usual things like the big wheel and the star flyer, loads of great places to eat and drink, and maybe some new rides as well. Fancy joining me? Welcome to Rog Vlog. Let's start our walk here in East Princes Street Gardens, and this is where most of the activity is usually centred, but already I can see something is missing. Right up there, next to the Scott Monument, no star flyer. Well, there's the Scott Monument just behind me, and usually the star flyer, they build it right next to the Scott Monument, and that's one of the things that was so scary about the star flyer, is that you went up by the side of the Scott Monument and then twirled around at speed right at the top. I wonder whether they've put it somewhere else this year. Now, back in 2019, Edinburgh Council came under a lot of criticism for the size of the Christmas market. It was absolutely gigantic. Here where I'm stood, just behind me, they built this gigantic scaffolding right out over the gardens, and there were hundreds of shops and restaurants and bars and attractions, but it was all built on what looked like a very shaky foundation. Obviously in 2020 there was no Christmas market at all because of the pandemic. This year it appears that they have scaled it right back, and I think that's a good balance between what they had in 2019 and what we see here today. Let's try out the food pop-ups and shops. Do we fancy a coffee? Or maybe some German beer? Churros! Some chocolate from Chocolate World? Just walking around here makes me hungry. Difficult to know where to start when it comes for food. Do I want sausages? Do I want churros? Do I want chips? Do I want burgers? Do I want bratwurst sausages? I tell you what, let's check out more of the shops before I make a decision on the food. You know, even though they've scaled things right back this year, there's still a hell of a lot to see. And there's another huge section just over here near the museum. The Edinburgh Skyline really does create an incredible backdrop to this market, doesn't it? Well, I am actually really hungry, so time to make a decision. All right, so in the end I went for the giant sausage. So let's get stuck in. Looks pretty good, eh? Not bad. Very porky, but as you would expect from a pork sausage, smothered in onions. Well, that sausage was delicious, and it certainly filled the gap. But you know what? It was £7. I think that's a bit toppy for a sausage. That's one of the things about these Christmas markets. Unless you watch out, you spend a hell of a lot of cash at them. What with the rides and the shops and the bars and the restaurants. So you may need to set yourself a cap. So now I'm sated, let's see what else we've got here in Edinburgh for Christmas. And I think it's Santaland next, so let's go. That statue dedicated to Edinburgh's lost children really does bring a tear to your eye. So we're heading along through West Princes Street Gardens now, and looks like there's some more lights just up ahead. And it seems that Santaland is right next to the Ross Fountain, so below the castle and next to the fountain. What a fabulous location. There's a Christmas maze and, of course, Santa's grotto. Once again, plenty to eat and drink, but it's a lot quieter down this end of town. No doubt it'll get busier the closer we get to Christmas, though. Here in Santaland are fairground rides, courtesy of the famous Tailors of Edinburgh, and that's bound to mean waltzers, bumper cars, and the wave swinger. Yes, it's a fun fair, but it's very much aimed at the younger generation. Well, we still haven't managed to find that elusive star flyer, so I think I'm going to head up to George Street. We're walking up Castle Street and we're turning on to George Street now, and here is the last part of Edinburgh's Christmas. This is the Ice Rink, I think. Well, here we are, the Ice Rink, and it's not open yet. In fact, it doesn't look as if it's fully frozen yet. Give it a few days, though, and this will be packed with people. For as long as I can remember, the Ice Rink has been in St Andrew's Square and has therefore been a circle that you just continually skate around. This one, because they've built it on the street, is just a great big straight line with a bit of a kink in the middle. So you can't go round and round. So potential for a lot of collisions, I would have thought. Let's walk along George Street now to my last port of call, the famous Dome. This place is always lit up to the nines and looks absolutely fantastic. Always worth a little visit. Well, the Dome looking fantastic as always. So there's only one place left for me to check for that star flyer, St Andrew's Square. Well, here I am in St Andrew's Square, but guess what? No star flyer. I wonder where on earth it is. Now here's the thing, it's actually mentioned on the Edinburgh Christmas website, but I can't find it. And it's not exactly inconspicuous, you know, it's about 100 feet tall and there's always loads of people on it screaming their heads off. So maybe it's not arrived yet and I'm gonna have to come back into Edinburgh later to find the star flyer. I feel it's time for a little bit of liquid refreshment. I think I'll complete my little tour here at the Festival Village. Now they've erected some pop-up pubs, pop-up pubs, are those a thing? At the top of Waverley Mall. So let's go in and try it out. Oh, for goodness sake, whilst I was queuing for a beer there, they were playing that 1980s hit by a band called Hanson, Bop. You know, it goes Bop, bop, boo, wop. It's going to be earworming its way into my brain for the rest of the day. So this is very well deserved. Beer in a plastic cup. So Edinburgh Festival. So Edinburgh Festival. Well, that's the second time in as many vlogs that I've been caught having a beer at lunchtime. I honestly don't make a habit of it. But I've really enjoyed my little wander around the Edinburgh Christmas Market. It's early days yet. We're still in the last couple of weeks in November. Give it another couple of weeks and it'll be much, much busier. And perhaps that star flyer that we couldn't find today will have arrived by then. I fully intend in a few weeks' time to come back, perhaps at night, so I can take in the lighting effects and have another wander around the Edinburgh Christmas Market. Until then, thank you so much for watching Rog Vlog. And until the next one, remember, there's always something to see, so get out there and find it.